One of the major shifts in EU foreign policy over the past year has been a gradual warming of relations with post-Brexit Britain. In the past couple of weeks, both Macron and Merz have visited Starmer in London, leading to several suggestions that the Triangle Alliance of the UK, France and Germany, previously known as the E3 group, may have been revived. So in this video, we'll explain Europe's new Triangle Alliance, why the E3 group is apparently back, and what it's trying to achieve. If you're interested in the political alliances and groupings which shape our world, then you might enjoy our poster, Every Alliance Explained. It shows, in slightly confusing detail, all of the world's major alliances and how different countries link together. Check out the poster by clicking the link in the description. To understand the background, let's look at how UK-French-German relations have changed in recent decades. For the 1990s until 2016, when the UK voted to leave the EU, the UK's foreign policy was set by the EU's foreign policy framework, particularly its common foreign and security policy and common security and defence policy. During this time, the UK had significant diplomatic influence within the EU, and was part of the bloc's E3 group along with France and Germany. From the early 2000s, the E3 group met regularly to discuss defence and security issues, notably Iran's nuclear activities, and negotiated the 2003 Tehran Agreement, plus a follow-up agreement in Paris in 2004, in which Iran agreed to temporarily suspend uranium enrichment. The E3 group also had a key role in negotiating the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, officially the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, signed between the EU, Iran, China, Russia and the US, and they've also released joint statements on Syria, Libya and other foreign policy issues in the past decade. However, relations between the UK, France and Germany soured after 2016, when the UK voted to leave the EU. Between 2016 and 2020, when the UK formally left the EU, with Euroscepticism apparently at its peak and Brexit negotiations causing political chaos in Britain, the UK gained a reputation for being an unreliable and unstable partner, and tensions rose between the UK and France, particularly over the North Sea fishing rights dispute and migrant crossings in the Channel. In Germany, there was also widespread regret about Brexit and its potential economic impact, with the newspaper Der Spiegel begging the UK, please don't go before the referendum. And indeed, after Brexit, the two countries' trade relationship suffered, with the UK going from Germany's third most important trading partner in 2016 to its ninth most important in 2024. But other than Brexit, the decline of the E3 group in recent years was also due to the breakdown of the so-called Franco-German engine. From early 2022 onwards, after Russia invaded Ukraine, Germany's previous Chancellor Olaf Scholz clashed with Macron over issues like energy, support for Ukraine and debt. And it wasn't until after Germany's 2025 election, when Merz replaced Scholz as Chancellor, that Franco-German relations got back on track. This was mainly because, while Scholz didn't really share Macron's belief in European strategic autonomy, i.e. the idea that Europe needs to build up its own capabilities, especially in military terms, Merz very much does, having said back in February that the EU can't rely on the US for defence, and last week argued that we have to do more on our own. So this brings us on to the new Triangle Alliance. In the past couple of weeks, several reports have noted the apparent revival of the E3 group, largely because UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has hosted both Macron and Merz in London this month, signing defence and security deals with both. This has been viewed, at least in the UK, as a symbolic and practical revival of the alliance, which could become a central pillar of European security. But before we discuss the aims of the alliance, we should explain the three sides of the triangle. Essentially, the UK-France-Germany triangle is made up of bilateral treaties. The 2010 Lancaster House Treaty between the UK and France, the 1963 Élysée Treaty, and the 2019 Aachen Treaty between France and Germany, and finally the Kensington Treaty, signed just last week between the UK and Germany. This means that all three countries are now linked by respective bilateral treaties. The Kensington Treaty is particularly wide-ranging, with the UK and Germany agreeing to deliver 17 joint projects, including an advanced missile system with a 2,000 plus kilometre range, an action plan on irregular migration, a strategic science and technology partnership, a North Sea energy infrastructure project, and cooperation on establishing direct rail services between London and Germany. Interestingly, the treaty also explicitly states that the two countries shall seek to intensify the trilateral cooperation with the French Republic, which is unusual for a bilateral treaty. Anyway, why is the E3 alliance apparently being revived, and what are its aims? Well, it's largely because of geopolitical instability, doubts about the future of the transatlantic relationship, and a belief that closer cooperation on defence, security and foreign policy between France, Germany and the UK will help Europe respond more effectively to threats. Moreover, because it's outside the framework of the EU, G7 and NATO, it also allows for more flexibility and can actually act as a bridge between these formal alliances. In the past few months, the E3 group has coordinated a position on Gaza and the Iran-Israel war, and is, this week, set to resume nuclear talks with Iran. In terms of the triangle legs, the UK and France have initiated a coalition of the willing to support a peacekeeping mission in Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. France and Germany have set up a joint defence and security council, and as of April 2025, the UK and Germany have co-led the Ukraine Defence Contact Group, also known as the Ramstein Group, which meets to discuss sending military equipment to Ukraine. We can also expect further coordination on issues like humanitarian aid, economic sanctions, cybersecurity, migration and nuclear deterrence, with Germany pushing for a nuclear sharing deal with France and the UK. Ultimately, while the E3 group provides a stable and central framework for defence cooperation outside both the EU and NATO, improving European security as a whole will also involve engaging closely with other EU nations, especially Poland and the Baltic states, which have long warned of the security threat posed by Russia. The E3 group may also have to overcome some internal difficulties going forward, like, for example, the UK's historic relationship with the US or Germany's resistance to debt sharing. However, the overarching aim of strengthening diplomacy and security policy between Europe's three biggest military spenders is probably a good idea, not least because of concerns that the US may not come to Europe's rescue if push ever comes to shove. As you may know already, here at TLDR we're committed to learning about the world around us, and helping you do the exact same. Luckily for all of us, our sponsor this week, Brilliant, helps with just that. Brilliant helps you become a better thinker and problem solver, with thousands of visual, interactive lessons in maths, science, programming, data analysis and AI. Not only does Brilliant offer a perfect mix of engaging problems and competitive features, it also keeps you motivated with daily encouragement, and their app makes it easy to learn wherever you are. Instead of mindless scrolling, with those extra pockets of time you find in the day, you can give your mind a workout with Brilliant's growing collection of programming courses. From learning Python to developing an intuition for computer logic, you'll get hands-on experience with real programs and learn to think like a programmer, building your problem-solving skills to thrive in the evolving world of programming. Plus, all content on Brilliant is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers and professionals from Stanford, MIT, Caltech, Microsoft, Google and more. To start your learning journey and try Brilliant for free, visit brilliant.org/TLDR. Scan the QR code on your screen, or you can click the link in the description. By doing so, you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know that you came from us, which really helps us out.